You want to talk about it? Sounds like you got something on your mind.
I'm just chilling, man.
We could turn the Kluver Eickholt Power Hour into a therapy session if you want. I could be your guy.
No, we're good, man. We're
okay.
good.
Right,
Busy days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's real busy. You got a lot of this is a football show, but you've got a lot of media stuff going on last week. Basketball is starting to get into full swing.
Yeah, we got basketball today in about 2 hours. We got men's media day too. We had women's yesterday, and then of course Penn State, and we're kind of amping up everything. And I just finished up a pod with our Penn State guy, and I'm like, I really can't complain about being busy, I guess, because they're kind of balls to the walls right now with everything going on there.
It's like,
Franklin.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's nuts over there. So you did pod with Penn State guy, pod with me. I'm gonna try and get you out of here early because you've got Micah Hyde and then Omar. What's his name? Omar Young.
Omar Young. I got a couple of people on that. We got Elliot and Sean. So
that's true.
Tyler, if you wanted me out early, then that's fine, and I'll take it personally. But it's all good. I understand.
Okay. No, and then you've got so you guys get McCollum. You guys get McCollum and the players today.
Yeah, we get McCollum and the players, and we will get. Obviously, I'm not going to ask about it because I think it's been overblown, but Tavion Banks is going to talk with us too, and I'm happy about that because he's actually a really good interview from the couple chances I got over the summer. So I'm pretty happy about that too.
Yeah, we won't get into it. Some of the discourse on Twitter is funny. Like, we got some. The burners are like, this is a new Iowa ball club. Come at us and we will fuck you.
People are like, Iowa setting the tone early. And
yeah. We're bringing the heat. This is a new look basketball team. It is funny because I just watched. Not only did I prep with the KF post game presser from Wisconsin the other day. It's amazing. I encourage you to go and look. Everybody here, go to the YouTube and search the post game presser, and then go to like a Tuesday presser. It is amazing what winning will do for how healthy somebody looks. Like Coach Barrett's glowing after that game, right? And then you get a little more stressed out. You get back into the week. You come out. The lighting might be a little bit different too in the depths of wherever they did that in Wisconsin versus the media room at Iowa.
It was, with all due respect, it was a glorified janitor's closet.
Yeah, kind of looked like it.
But that's how a lot of visiting. That's how a lot of visiting venues are. Like, I'm not. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it's just funny to see the vibe, hear the tone, see the face of and then the stress kicks in. And they got to deal with Penn State. It's Tuesday, and you can tell that coaches, maybe has an hour less of sleep yesterday. All the different things. But I did watch the Jan Jensen presser as well from yesterday. I love listening to her talk. I love listening to all of our coaches that we have right now talk. I do think it's funny when you've got a coach at the beginning of their career as the head of a program, which we have. And basically we have 1 year in Jan and not a single game played yet with McCollum. And maybe it's just because I've been used to listening to like KF or Fran, and they are on the other side of things. But it's funny to hear how much they elaborate and how much they open up and how much they have a conversation with versus some of the older coaches, the ones who have been around enough, the ones who have been through the ups and downs and have taken criticisms and all this. They're more like, there's a little bit more coach speak with them. So it is really fun to listen to Jan and McCollum talk because it's so like everything is exciting. Everything is new. Do you get that same vibe?
No, I think that's a really interesting point. I think you're right. At the same time, I think Jan's such a special case because I don't think there's anything that could break Jan. Like, she is genuinely like the nicest human being I've ever met in my entire life. And it's also one of those things to where like I have a column on Iowa's culture coming out Friday for women's basketball. And I wrote in it, I'm like, if you ever find someone that says a negative word about Jan Jensen, like, I'm judging you, not her.
They're lying.
Because like nobody dislikes Jan Jensen. Like,
I know
she's overwhelmingly positive. And like, I think back to Lucy Olson when Lucy got to Iowa, like how everybody was like, oh, she's like a ray of sunshine. She's like smiling all the time, all that. I'm like, that's Jan 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they're very, very similar. That's also why it was such a good culture fit. between that. But you're right. I mean, even McCollum, I feel like it's interesting because when I got the chance to interview McCollum one-on-one over the summer, he'll laugh and joke with you when everything's kind of off, and then he'll smile every once in a while when you ask him a question. But then right when he starts talking, he'll be like, you see the Chris Paul gif of where he's like, that's literally Ben McCollum. He'll laugh and just so super serious into an answer.
Yeah, he's locked in. It's so
he's psycho. He's a basketball psycho, and like I mean that in the most complimentary way possible.
I know, and man, it is going to be fun to watch them. Somebody like me might even tune in. I'm somewhat interested in the basketball program and the personalities around that and the players that we have. And we're always, we're trying to, at some point, I'd love to get like to expand our knowledge on the Walk-On Network around the basketball team. Always looking for opportunities to do that. But with the women's, it was interesting to me that Jan opened up with talking about patience.
I knew you were on there, yeah.
So this is just me like hyper analyzing, right? But like, last year I think we talked about the same stuff. And last year it definitely made sense, right? They lose Caitlin. They have this a brand new coach. They not only lose Caitlin, but they lose Kate. They lose just some vital pieces to the team, what had been there the last 4 years. Obviously, it was going to be a rebuild year, like a hold-on year. And year two, theoretically, in a lot of people's eyes nowadays, because of the what have you done for me lately, the fast speed, the portal, all this stuff, it's like, okay, year two, start doing something. Like, poke with the sticks, do something. When in reality, like year two is still, in Iowa didn't have to fully rebuild. There's a lot of talent, a lot of momentum around the program, but it's like, there's still like this thing where you should probably give them time. And Jan kind of references that. She talks about like the one word that she's like, maybe I'm talking to myself, but it's patience, right? And talking about planting and watering seeds this year. She brings up immediately in her opening comments the youth and how this is the youngest team since 2012. I don't love that. I don't love that for I mean, I shifted over to the football team. We're going to talk here in a second about Coach Ferentz and what he said. And someone asked about the offensive line and why they're playing so well. He immediately says, well, we got 3 seniors there. And so it's the contrast of, well, shit, like youngest team since 2012. We got some portal pieces, Chit Chat, Emily Rodriguez, Addie Deal's brand new. Ava Hayden's only in her second year. Like talked a lot about Stolke being the kind of the centerpiece, but I don't know. I feel like it could be fun, but there's still going to be some bumps, maybe more so than fans. Expectations should maybe still be tempered. And she talked about how they're building, and next year could be really, really exciting. But I don't know, just something to consider for fans, maybe.
Here's what I'll say, and you're right, because I was thinking similar. You know what this tells me? It's the same team as last year from a ceiling standpoint. It's a perennial Sweet 16 team.
Yeah.
But this was Jan Jensen's way of saying, we're coming.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly how I took it, because you think about Ideal, you have a top 10 recruit there. What she's going to eventually be. Taylor McCabe put in a terrific offseason. She's been the buzz throughout the last 2 weeks. That's great news from Iowa from a two-guard perspective. Behind you got Layla Hayes, 6'5" girl, old school post from Alaska. You can get a high-low action with 6'4" and 6'5". That'll win you a lot of games in women's basketball.
We have real size now.
You get McKenna Volitsko next year. And then if you get Jenica Lewis or Addison Bjorn, one perennial near 5-star and one 5-star, either or, to join her. And then you have, by the way, there's no juniors on the roster.
Yeah.
There's a redshirt sophomore, I believe, Kenice Johnson, but they're like, that's how young. 9 of Iowa's players are sophomores and freshmen. Again, you hate projecting or hate pushing it aside. 2027, Tyler. Seriously. That's a Final Four roster in 2027 if everybody continues to progress with the upside they have. And I know how crazy that sounds, but like there will be more natural star-riddled talent on Iowa's roster than they have ever had before.
Yeah. I mean, looking ahead to that, that would be Hayden's senior year. It would be Layla's third year, Addie's third year, McKenna's second year.
Second year.
Yeah. And then the other pieces that you mentioned.
Then you have Taylor
as well.
Yeah. Assuming you keep the roster together. I mean, that's why I told you this off the air. Maybe I've said on the air. Like, that's what I love about covering Iowa is like all the teams people care about, and it helps my content throughout the course of a year. But like, it's so nice to have people invested in like 3 programs.
Yeah.
Now, of course, wrestling, but like we don't cover wrestling at 24/7. Maybe if we get a 4th person, maybe we'll expand the reach. But I'm not about to insult Iowans by covering wrestling.
Throw me a bag and I'll learn about wrestling. See what 247 can come up with salary wise, and I'll start doing wrestling.
This is the gift of like the
no. It is interesting. I think she's just tempering expectations a little, and she's really good at that. I think it's a combination of that plus also just honesty and reality, and a little bit of and then maybe a little bit of like cautious optimism of like, I like the way you put it. I think similar ceiling of this team, because it's tough. You lose Lucy Olson. She's over in Australia.
They have no go-to scorer. It's going to be a lot more balanced than it's been. Because think about the star-studded Iowa that's like scoring point guards. Like Chit Chat is going to be a pass first. And you think about how many scoring point guards Iowa had. Like before Caitlin, they had Kathleen Doyle. You had Caitlin, you had Lucy. And then she's probably more like a Sam Logic, but Sam Logic was also like near 6 feet tall. Chit Chat's 5'4".
Oh, she is small.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, but another sellout season. But like it's
20
again. Jan's the right person for the job, and that's what it boils down to. And the fact is, Iowa again is recruiting coast to coast, which is a big deal.
Yeah. That I think you're the one who brought that up in the press conference, and it is really cool to just see like if you threw up all their their origins, their hometowns on a map, it's really cool. Like
to middle of America, like saying to me.
It's awesome. And she had a great answer about how the expansion of the Big Ten and Caitlin's journey kind of paralleled each other. And that put the Hawkeye brand. It's why the branding of college is so important. And Iowa's done a really good job, and they've really capitalized. They're continuing to. But that logo is on Caitlin's chest and on TV a bunch through that 3-4 year span. And now all of a sudden, every high school basketball player in America, and obviously Caitlin's solo presence helps that too. But
the last thing I'll say about that really quick too, Tyler, and this is where women's basketball has a niche over men's basketball and even football at times. These players are required to stay for at least 3 years. Sometimes they have to stay 4 years before they can go to the WNBA. Yes, you have to do that in college, but like look at the transfer rates in college versus like football versus women's basketball. Yeah. They build a brand at their college. And that's why a lot of people are connecting with the athletes because they're thinking, okay, well, yeah, you can go get a star-studded transfer for men's college basketball. He's there a year and he's dipping out.
Yeah.
Women's, they're sticking around for 2, 3, 4 years.
I know, and I think about that a little.
Get to know them.
I think about that a little bit with Gronowski, right? Such a vital piece. Like he is one of a couple star players on this year's Iowa football team. Like in 30 years, people might know Drake Kulik's name more than they'll know Mark Gronowski's name. Like that's the reality of it. And it's because of a few things that Drake's done post football career, but like he was there for 5 years, had a crazy injury, had this like goodwill and reputation built up with the fans, showed up year after year in the program, up on the screen in the starting lineups. And like, yeah, people will remember Gronowski, but it's not like Drew Tate when he played for 3 years, or it's
all
weird.
Staying power, dude. It really is.
And that is the one big thing that women's basketball has. And I'm not even sure what is the rule there. Is the rule simply built around the fact that like
you have
the WNBA is
old.
And who determines that?
I believe there's a hard deadline set on the day of birth. I believe that's the WNBA.
Would have to be, right? Because the NCAA is governing the men and the women. So they're not going to.
Well, the other part of it, too, is like there's not enough spots in the WNBA.
That's what I'm getting at is like I think
Yeah.
the WNBA set that as like that's a safety measure because there's only 140 players in the WNBA. They don't make the kind of money that NBA players do. So as far as like what you're doing to your life and your value, to allow them to try and come out and do that would be almost like negligent or irresponsible of
Caitlin had to come back for her senior year.
right.
Her only decision she had to make was the COVID year, which everybody knew she wouldn't have, like, there's no reason for her to come back because, yeah, her records would have been unbreakable. But everybody's like, oh, then Cheryl Swoops' thing's actually true. Oh, she's had it for 5 years.
Yeah. They already are almost unbreakable. Anyway, it will be interesting.
Yeah.
Eventually someone will break it. It'll be great to see that. But yeah, it just an interesting sort of I love the women's basketball rise and following it from, just from the sidelines, and it's going to be another interesting year, and I think you're right. I think this year another fun year. It's going to be some ups and downs. Next year, take a step forward. The year after that, like legitimate contender. And then you've ran the course of what we talked about, which was you have to capitalize off the momentum of Caitlin. By 27, you're 4 or 5 years out from her playing. And ideally within the next 2-3 recruiting cycles, again, you're picking up a 5-star in every class, which they're doing right now. And now you've established yourself and really risen the floor. And Caitlin's gone, and yes, like she's going to have that lasting impact forever in that, that legacy. But now the program's just running on its own fuel. That's like continues to self-sustain. So it's very cool. We are a football show. We'll get to that. Most people tuning in are like, I didn't come here for the basketball, but hey, you get a little extra. And you get a little extra thanks to some of our sponsors. Obviously, the podcast brought to you by FanDuel all season long. If you're in Iowa City and you're like, dang, I'm going to watch a women's basketball game, or I'm there for the Penn State game this weekend, which we're going to talk a lot about today in 2 shows, both in this show with David Eickholt and the preview tonight with Kevin and Grant. There's a couple places you could stop to have a bite to eat, maybe an alcoholic beverage. You can see them on the bottom of the screen if you're watching the YouTube. And if you are watching the YouTube or you're catching this on Twitter on the live stream, at some point when you have time, head over to the YouTube channel. We're so close. We're like 4 subscribers away from 4,500 subscribers, trying to get to the 5,000 mark by the end of the year. And we would appreciate that so much. Gray's Gourmet to Go, Big Grow Brewery in Hamburg, again, all sponsors of the Washed Up Walk-Ons this season. You can grab the array of delicious options from them. We talk about the chicken lips, the sourdough pizza from Gray's, and the great people over there, Pete and Kim, love them. Had somebody that I know text me last weekend and say they went back-to-back days. They tried it and then went back the next day. That's how much they love it. Big Grow Brewery, huge sponsor of the show this year, allowed us to do a live show with Corey Brada a couple weeks ago. Going to be doing more of those. Unbelievable locations, the patio, the tap rooms that they have, and the selection of different menu options, food-wise, beer-wise. Cannot beat that spot as the official watch party of the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the Hamburg Inn, one of the classic spots in Iowa City. Love having them on the show as well. Grab yourself a pie shake, some pancakes, all the good stuff. Football. Going back to that Wisconsin postgame. Again, winning is medicine. And it's just so, he ends the press conference or the little presser at the end there, which was like 9 minutes long, with like, oh, that was easy. Oh. He just kind of walks off like jolly. He's got this like jolly Santa vibe to him when things are all good.
When he's happy. It's not a secret. Like, once he gets in front of the camera, he's stoic. But right when he either exits or enters, like it's right when he thinks he's out of the camera view. That's what it is. And I'm not mad at it. I get it. But like, there's a little bit more cut.
Yeah, my wife and I, where were we? We were somewhere out on Saturday before. Oh, we were at my parents' house. Went and saw some family. And then came home to watch the game, like right as the game started. And we were seeing all the pictures come out. Iowa arriving to the stadium, all this stuff. KF getting off the bus. And off the bus, walking into the stadium, they got a shot of KF where he was like cheesing. He was smiling big And I was like, I don't know. He's usually never that happy before a
No.
game. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if he knew or what. But the game obviously really went in their favor on Saturday. And I don't know if you have any thoughts and comments on the Wisconsin game, David. There wasn't a lot there, man. But what did you
Wisconsin
think about?
sucks.
They're bad, man.
Like
They're
that is
really
the worst
bad.
Wisconsin team in my lifetime. Seriously, I mean they do nothing well. I thought Kirk had an interesting comment post game when he said this kind of reminds us of our situation in terms of the quarterback, and I hadn't really thought about that before. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But the other side of it too is, and I shouldn't be fighting tooth and nail about it. This is not my role, but like it kind of pisses me off, Tyler. It really grinds my gears. The fact that people are still taking pot shots at Iowa's offense when you have Wisconsin in the conference. It's such a lazy ass take at this point. Iowa's averaging over 30 points in conference games. Yeah, the passing offense isn't what it needs to be yet, but Iowa's offensive line has been among the best in the country. They have 4 different running backs that are capable of doing stuff. Like, do you know how many points Wisconsin's averaging in conference this year, Tyler?
I saw the graphic. It's like just under 7. Yeah.
It's worse than Iowa ever was.
Iowa never did that. They never did that. But here's the thing.
It's lazy. It's lazy journalism. It's lazy nitpicking. Like, again, Iowa deserved all the shit for its offense that was right. It got carried by special teams and carried by defense. We all know that, right? The offense has done some heavy lifting. Point blank, yeah. Rutgers, when they put up 38 after they gave up 3 straight scoring drives to start the game. Like, I'm not saying Iowa's a top 25 offense. I'm not saying they're world beaters. But it's absolutely lazy to sit here and act like Iowa's still pedestrian on offense and they're still like the worst of the worst. That's just not accurate whatsoever.
Yeah, and I question, or I kind of just ponder like how long it will take for that, because it gets ingrained in everybody's minds, and then it becomes the joke, and it's like, I don't know if it's even more like sort of accentuated because we paired that with like the best punter. One of the best punters in college history, and Torrey Taylor. So the whole, it went in, and Iowa leaned into it. Like, yeah, punting is winning, all this stuff. So it makes it easier for the national scene and the media and everybody to use the memes and be like, yeah, wow, that's an Iowa thing. I don't know how long.
Offense, like for some reason, it's so much sexier to throw for 250 than run for 250 when he equates the same damn thing.
I know. I don't know. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. People are probably just going to have to get used to it. I agree. I also am, have that initial reaction, that gut, like kind of cringe. That is like, have you looked at the offense though since 2023? I know we're only in the second year out from when it was really bad, but it has changed over the last couple of years. And there are plenty of people online who remind folks of that, which, there's people out there doing the good work. Yeah, they're not a great. It's funny. We only had like 300 and some yards the other day. He did mention that, and this is the way that a lot of Iowa's games go because of the special teams and the field position, which haven't been as good this year, but still good. A lot of that yardage, I actually like deep dived sort of an advanced stat a couple years ago that made Iowa's offense not as bad because they play so much good defense and special teams with regards to field position. When you get a pick and you go all the way down to the half-yard line because Graves didn't get called in, and you start an offensive possession there, like you have 6 inches worth to gain on that possession. Same thing on the first pick. You have like 20 yards to gain on that possession. So your starting field position is so much different, and because they play the game a little bit slower and more controlled than a lot of teams, you get less possessions anyway. So I think in a deep way, like if you really want to like dive into a good stat, it's what percentage of potential yardage are you getting? Yeah. So like you take the number of drives and you take the average drive starting position and you multiply that, and that gives you your potential yardage for the game, right? And then you take your actual yardage and you divide that number from the final or from the top end number, and then that's your percentage. And that percentage actually speaks a lot more to how your offense is doing than like total yards or and it's one of those advanced stat things. But
Well, here's what I'll tell you, Tyler. Here's what I'll tell you, and this goes along with what you're saying. Iowa's average starting field position was their own 45.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's 55 yards of drive, right? So if you want to get really dorky about it, it's way past what I'm capable of doing. They had 12 drives.
Yeah, so you're looking at like
12 times 55.
You basically got like 660 yards of total potential offense. Some teams are
Iowa got about 50%.
Yeah. Which I bet if you go and look is pretty good. Like there are some teams that I'm looking at it right here. The offensive leaders based on the yards per game stat, Texas Tech, USC, Florida State, Tennessee, they all average 500 and some yards per game, right? So even them aren't getting that amount of yardage, that 600 number or whatever, and they have way more drives. They probably have a way worse starting position. Those teams are probably, and sure, maybe some of them do have a better percentage of potential yards to gain accomplished, but you have to. It's a nuanced stat because when you're starting at your own 45, you're getting turnovers. Now, granted, again, oh, by the way, who called that this was going to be the game where we finally get multiple interceptions? We had a great. You and I, we were on top of that last week. Now, not hard.
I don't think we quite predicted the defensive linemen would be the ones to do it, though.
No, but I
want your opinion on this. Elliott was fantastic. Elliott said that the defensive linemen should call themselves the Cookie Dough Boys.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's actually incredible. Awesome. And the amount of NIL merchandising opportunities on that is unlimited.
Yeah. By the way, did you see I asked Logan Jones if he's bullied Aaron Graves about getting tackled by a quarterback, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I've let it happen." He goes, like, it disappointed all fat guys. It disappointed me. He didn't just disappoint himself.
I saw the quote and I was gonna retweet it. I mean, understandable. And yeah, it was similar when I caught the pass and went down on the 2 against Ohio State. Like the entire special teams room was like, dude, you could have scored. Like we never get a chance to score, and you were literally right there. So I feel Graves' pain. I think if they don't throw it to those guys, they end up throwing it to the DBs. That quarterback situation is not good. That offensive situation is not good. I mean, David, they didn't threaten. They threatened one time, and they went for it.
Did they?
And they kind of. They should have caught a 4th and 2 pass. I don't know why they're passing.
Yes.
And that drive would have been extended into Iowa's territory, and it was in the second quarter maybe. And
I mean, Tyler, did you know the game was over at the end of the first quarter? Like the 3 minutes in the first quarter, and Iowa went up 17-0. I didn't tweet it because I'm like, if this comes back and somehow bites me in the ass, I'm gonna get like threatened. I'm never gonna live it down. But like 17 was an insurmountable lead. The game was over.
Yeah, I mean, it turned
out.
And
Iowa, quite frankly, probably should have won by 50.
They could have. They could have if they wanted to. And we've mentioned how the passing game is still a little bit behind. The Wisconsin game is a bad example of that because one, it was a slightly limited Mark Gronowski. You and I talked about we wanted him at like 90%.
He's not healthy. He's at 80 at best.
He was maybe at 75 or 80% during that game.
Yeah.
It does sound like he's gotten even better since then, and that's good. Like he needs to progress. And if he can be, I don't know if anybody's ever at 100% after the first game. Many aren't at 100% to start the season. If he could just hover around 90% all year, that's fine. He's going to give us what we need. But he was a little bit limited. The game plan didn't need to be exotic. The running game, we were absolutely thrashing this Wisconsin defensive front that's like number 5 in the country at stopping the run. So the Wisconsin game, throw that one out the window. I think you just look at, and there were still a few good passes in there. Like Mark gave us a few more of those, like, oh, I'm just going to take the hitch route. I'm going to take the quick curl when I can get it. Like there's some stuff happening that, again, we have not seen in the past couple of years, but just go back to the Indiana game. That's where the passing game really started to evolve into, we're going to take what the defense gives us and we can get it done. And I think that's where we're at. I think we've taken, a step forward in the last 2 weeks with the bye week. in Wisconsin. We're now going into Penn State. I do believe that that's getting better, and we just did not need to. We could have thrown on Wisconsin if we wanted to, and we just didn't. Did see Hecklinski get in there. That is a development that he kind of won that second string job, and he slung one out to the flat on a nice little like quick, and it's good. Hey, we've been told he's a gunslinger, and he threw it out there real quick, real nice, real smooth. So it's exciting. KF was like, hey, he's like in the press conference before we get into this, it's very, very close between Hank and Hecklinski, and I believe that. I think it is a really close battle, and he continues to harp on the fact that the best part is that there's competition there, and either guy they go with is paraphrasing, but in the way that KF says it nicely, I'm going to put it not nicely. These guys are so much better than the guys we've had in the room the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, that's really without question, though, right? And the other part is, too, when you talk about, like, Iowa running the ball well, and, like, that was also part of it, too. Like, Gronowski didn't need a run. I think he will against Penn State. But the other part of it, too, is if you look at Penn State, Tyler, they're 80th in rushing defense right now. They're giving up about 160 yards a game at this point.
Wow.
And you look at Iowa defensive front, I think during the losing streak, they're, like, giving up 5 yards a carry. You're not beating Iowa if you give up 5 yards carry.
No, we just put 6 yards a carry.
If you're averaging 5 yards a carry, giving up 5 yards a carry without Iowa's offensive line is going to give you another yard, 1.2.
Yeah.
At least. Like I think Iowa's offensive line is a top 5 offensive line in college football at this point. Every advanced analytics says so.
They have to be. I'm seeing Dunker in a lot of first round drafts, mock drafts. I think Logan Jones, I don't know where exactly he's at, but I think he's
he'll be a pro guy.
Yeah, I think he's a fourth, a third rounder maybe.
Peeper might have a legitimate decision to make as well.
That's fucking crazy to me.
Sophomore.
That's crazy to me. It's
his first year starting with. There's a lot of NFL. Like I've talked to a couple of NFL scouts. They like his ability to potentially flip to center at the next level as well.
Wow. He's that athletic, huh?
Yeah, he's a freak. Well, remember Bruce Feldman, who does the freaks list?
Yeah.
Peeper was on that. I can't remember exactly what he was, but Peeper was on it.
Wow. He's been really good. He's been really good this year.
I mean, they all have.
There hasn't. I don't know if there's like a bad lineman. It's
like everybody's
amazing.
Got low lights, but like everybody's been fairly consistent for the most part.
I think it's such a nice place to just be after. I mean, Coach said it. He's talking about Connor Colby and Mason Richmond in the NFL, and he straight up says like Connor was in there too early. We had to use him, but they were in there, and they weren't ready. And we talked about for 2-3 years how many conversations, not just you and I, but other people, me, Drake, Kevin on this show just sat there and were like, guys, yes, this offense isn't good, but it's even worse because we just don't have an offensive line that is ready. And we finally do. And now you see like, oh, shit can work. And of course you have Lester, you have a better quarterback, you have better receivers, but it's all the components that come together. So, yeah, that's wild. I think Peeper will come back.
I think he's got one more year in him.
Yeah. I
think it'd be smart too.
But it's very exciting that we have him assuming he comes back. It's exciting that we have him to anchor on next year. So, we'll try. Hopefully we can just replace those guys because that's always the question is, can we replace the offensive line?
Sure.
What else do we have in this press conference? Anything exciting notes wise? Let me.
I'll say this about yesterday that really stood out to me. Kirk continued to reiterate the fact that like he respects all 3 Penn State coordinators, and this is not something that like, yeah, it's a big deal that Franklin's fired, but they still think they're going to run a lot of the same stuff. He's not familiar with Grunkemeyer, but like he knows all 3 coordinators fairly well, and he knows how respected they are in the coaching world. So with all due respect, like Franklin getting fired is a big deal, obviously. Changes nothing from Kirk's prep, in my opinion, or his mentality toward the game.
And that would
amplifies it. Seriously.
And that would be my assessment of that too. I've always said, we've talked about it on the show multiple times, how the head coach is very, very important throughout the year. Game day might be the least important day for a head coach, versus like the coordinators are the ones calling the plays. They're the ones spending time in the huddles with the, and then even further than that, the position coaches who have hands on every play, back and forth with these guys. He even went back to the 60s and 70s when he goes, I started paying attention to college football in the late 60s, right? Early 70s. And I'm like doing the math in my head. I'm like, fuck. Yeah. that is true. Kirk would have been born in what, like 55? Yeah, so he would have been like a freshman.
55.
Yeah, so he would have been like a freshman freshman in high school right around 1970. And he starts bringing up guys that played for Penn State then to illuminate how they've always had good players. This is in conjunction with him talking about the 3 nationally respected coordinators. And he's like, so yeah, we know they got a pretty good team. Like we know that they have talent. And then the same thing with the Grunkermeyer conversation. He's like, yeah, we got about 20 plays on this guy, but
I asked him if he knew much. He goes, like, what do you know? And he goes, not much.
Not much. He's like, but we know the kind of talent that they bring in. I'm pretty sure that guy will play. He'll play pretty good. So that being said,
he is a good quarterback. He was a late rankings riser.
That being said, I think our guy Ethan there's going to be a few moments for him on Saturday that are going to, he might need to tighten the belt a little bit. There's going to be a few times, maybe backed up into the north end zone, where a Penn State quarterback hasn't been able to hear the line per se hasn't been able to hear the snap count or the hut. And
it is not a fair situation for him to walk into whatsoever. Like, his coach just got fired. It's going to be his first career start, and you're going to a night game in Kinnick Stadium where sold out. That's going to be fired up to still, like, again, Penn State may not be ranked. It might not snap the ranked teams thing, but, like, I don't care what anybody says. Beating Penn State and that big of a brand always sends waves. It does not matter how much they are struggling. It is one of the biggest brands in college football.
So as a former player who just like went up against all these teams and these I only view Penn State as a ranked football team. I only see them as a roster of 4 and 5 stars.
Yes.
So maybe that's a good thing, knowing that the guys on the inside in Iowa City probably have the same viewpoint, and they're not of the sort of execution and vibe this week that is, this is going to be easier. They're not as good. Like, they know that they're very good. I am sitting here going, I think there's a chance that there's a small chance that this goes really poorly for Iowa. And I'll be open and honest with that. When you allow a bunch of elite talent to just play free and start creating highlight tapes for wherever they're going to transfer next because they're going to be in the portal, that's not good. Like, you're just going to let a bunch of 4 and 5 stars play with no pressure. Who gives a shit? They lost to Northwestern. They lost to UCLA. Going to Kinnick,
their season's over. It's all about the NFL highlight tape and rebuilding for next year.
Exactly. So these guys are just going to be flying around with nothing to lose, and that worries me a lot.
They got a lot of NFL talent still on that roster, and that's why I keep trying to tell people. Like, I do think Iowa fans have done a nice job of like maintaining expectations and being even keeled. Like, just because Iowa's, by the way, Tyler, if we had talked a month ago and I told you, hey, they're going to lose to UCLA, Northwestern, and by the way, Franklin's going to be canned. And, on top of that, Iowa's favored by 3.5 over Penn State. Like,
it is now
just mind-blowing to you?
On FanDuel, it's come back down. It did jump to that 3.5 number. Shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. That number now does sit at 2.5. So a little bit more money. A little bit of money coming in on the Penn State side there. Which I don't think is a bad move if you're just in the unbiased betting game. They're essentially calling this a pick'em with Kinnick as the deciding home and field advantage.
I think that's the right way to approach it. I still don't know who I'm picking. I really don't.
39.5 is the over under. So they're expecting it to be just like a defensive. You think it goes over? Really?
Yeah.
Really? With Gronowski still being a little banged up, and you think they'll be able to find points?
I think Iowa scores at least 24, if not 30.
24, 21.
They're still running the football effectively. Penn State struggled defending the run.
Yeah.
And you talk about elite athletes, like something that nobody's talked about, and I understand why, because their stats haven't been good. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton are still like one of the most dangerous 1-2 running back combinations in America. They haven't been this year. But if you look at their careers, dude, that's like
they're scary.
Either of them is elevated on most college football programs. Like the fact that they did it together, like Jay Montgomery has a big game ahead of him.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Defensive line has a big opportunity because I'll tell you, if they don't want to pin the game on Grunkmeyer, they're going to run the football. And there's another aspect of this that Kirk did get asked about. Remember what happened when Devontae Ross visited Kinnick Stadium last time?
Yeah, that was funny that he's like.
Kirk's still so pissed about that.
He said, the Kirk humor was, you got to pull it out. You got to really look for it. But the Kirk joke of the day was like, our goal this time is just to get a hand on him. He's like, he said to you guys, I don't know if I've ever seen something that bad in my life. He might be right. He was untouched.
Any touchdowns.
It was unbelievable. He absolutely torched us. So it is fun. It's not funny, but he's like, I don't know where I was when I heard he was going to Penn State, but I know what I thought when I heard about it. That is dangerous. Now, granted, Penn State is like down, kind of closer to Iowa. I don't know where Iowa was on that list, but they're just ahead of Iowa, like 360, 370 yards per game of offense. And so
Aller's not been the issue, dude. Like that's the thing. Their wide receivers have been underwhelming. Their O-line has been great. And then of course
I was going to say, is there something wrong with their offensive line? That's what I'm getting. Is maybe
it's just not as strong as it's been in previous years. I haven't done my deep dive on their offensive line yet, but from talking to our Penn State guys and reading the message board, like they haven't been happy with that, and they've been really disappointed with their wide receivers. Like I do need to look this back up. I'm gonna do that right now. What Devontae Ross's stats are right now?
I mean, dude, like I'm surprised. I thought somebody was going to pick him up and he was going to be like on the Bednarik or whatever that receiver all best receiver.
I mean, he's got 16 grabs for 240 and 3 touchdowns.
But only 16 receptions.
I think all of which would lead Iowa right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, talk about Iowa.
No, I know. I'm just like, that's mind-blowing to me, though. I might look at that, too.
Going back to the Montgomery needing to have a big game, getting the second start for Harrell. Love the response about him and his dad. What's different between them? He talked about his dad being a great recruiter when he was back on campus, but even better, the ending comment of that conversation was Jaden probably has a 4x GPA than his dad Jerry did, and talked about how Jaden's a great student. So I love that he's good academically because he's in the middle with the comms. He's got the green dot. We need somebody like that that's smart in that position. That makes me feel a little bit better. Also, the fact, I mean, it was one game. It was Wisconsin, but it feels like we plug and played there, and then we even got some of the young bucks in there. Buffington up in the game.
You know how much I love Buffington.
Bro.
I love Cam Buffington. He was my favorite recruit coming out of that class.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's an absolute dog.
They're going to be so good, aren't they?
I'm very high on them. I think he'll take him a little bit, but like, dude, like you just see the potential ooze, right? Like it's pretty freaking obvious.
Who's going to be a bigger...
The fact that they're all freak athletes and they're all within like an hour of Iowa City is insane.
Wild. Yeah,
like all star linebackers.
Who's going to be a bigger star? The linebacking class? Who? No. I'm going somewhere else. Who's going to be the bigger? The linebacking class of those three. Who is it? It's Buffington. It's Weiskopf and
Reese.
And Reese. Will they be better, or will Addy Deal be better?
Oh God! Well, I mean, there's 3 of them.
Who will get talked about more, that unit or Addy Deal in 3 years? Or McKenna Velichko? Which one?
Shit.
Hopefully,
it's tough. It's I think they all will, but like it's also tough because like if the women make a Final Four in 3 years, like they're probably going to be talked about more.
yeah, I know,
right?
I know, yeah.
Like
But those
I'm just I'm so stupid high on Buffington. Like I don't want to put expectations like out publicly what I think he can do because like it's not fair to him at this point.
I do. He's going to be our next consensus All-American at linebacker.
Okay.
Josie Jewell, Jack Campbell, Buffington.
You're forgetting somebody there, bud.
Jay Higgins.
There you go.
Buffington. Yeah. What an unfucking real run, by the way. How lucky are we?
Well, that's why I felt bad for Harrell and like Montgomery. It's like, dude,
yeah, that's
the expectations. Tough. Like they could have been like second team all conference, and it's still not the standard of like Iowa's Mike linebackers over the past like 5 years. And you're sitting there like, this is not fair.
They already have a picture of him tackling in last weekend's game on his profile on the website. And this face right here just screams, I play football, bro. He's got
to be fair, like Buffington's got to be one of the best middle linebacker, like Mike linebacker names. I would say Pat Anger is still the GOAT when it comes to like linebacker names, but Buffington's going to have a case too.
6'3", 240. And this kid's just I mean, you could tell too. He looks skinny, man. He's going to get bigger than that. He's going to be 250.
Rita's high school stuff.
First team all district all 4 years. First team all state as a senior. Second team all state as a junior.
Just go down to his stats. Just go down to his stats. Like linebacker,
1,300 rushing yards, 600 receiving yards, 36 touchdowns, and 107 tackles as a senior. Oh my God! Who did he play for?
Winfield Mount Union.
Okay. So that makes a little bit more sense because stats get a little bit inflated.
Insane.
So he had 2,000 all-purpose yards, 36. He was averaging 2.5, 3 touchdowns a game himself.
Yeah.
107 tackles. By the way, I had 107 tackles my senior year.
I think you have the edge. I think he only had 106.5. I think you got him by half tackle.
Yeah, he also has me by about 40 pounds and 5 inches and half a second on the 40. So yeah, it's there's a lot of young talent there. Dude. It's so sick. And he's not even I mean Reese is like he's the one that everyone's like, yeah, this kid he's a football Neanderthal. Like this guy is literally he's a
meathead.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Again, that's a compliment. That's not an insult, but like that shit. He doesn't give a shit about any of the media stuff. He's the type of guy who like bang his helmet against his forehead to fire up his teammates. Like that's just he's a football guy, dude.
Yeah, I think I'll finish with this. Talk a little bit more about Gronowski. So a couple things. He was asked about his health, and KF reiterated he was like really surprised last week, Monday. So I guess 9 days ago at this point, when he came out to practice and like looked pretty good, was able to participate, and then even more surprised, like everybody was when he did that, and there was no swelling, there was no really signs of being beat up after one practice, after two practices, and then ultimately I love the insight here is like we can't have you, the final thing is you have to look at Mark at the end of the week and say, are you good to go? And don't give me a hero answer, right? And he really respected that in the Indiana game. Mark looked at him in the heat of the moment and said, I can't do it. Like, I am choosing to like tell you I cannot do this. And so I think that's why he respected Mark saying I'm good to go against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And he's using all of this to just talk about how great of a leader he is, and how he's taken on that leadership role even when he was out, and how that evolved through the offseason. And then he just talked about he's not getting the Purple Heart, but he toughed it out, and he leads with action 100%. Like that's just who he is, and he impresses everybody. And so I like that. I like where that's going. I like that for big games like Saturday. It's weird because you feel like, oh my God, it's Penn State. It's a night game. This is the biggest game of their career. It's 3-3 Penn State. Like it's.
Do you see what the weather's gonna be like too?
No, I didn't. What is it? What is it?
It looks like it's gonna be a downpour.
It's gonna rain.
Yeah. It's like
Advantage
90% right
Iowa,
now.
baby. Run the ball.
I agree.
Run the rock. Also, I want to put
I
something
agree.
out there. Other than we haven't mentioned this, but other than Weechin slipping at Iowa State and that DB having a free interception, and then them taking a heat check bomb last week against Wisconsin, where Mark was just like, "I'm throwing this motherfucker. Like, I don't care." We have taken control, and now I'm going to knock on wood. We have taken care of the ball better than anybody this year. We don't turn the ball over offensively. Now, granted, we don't get a lot of stops.
Don't forget about the Indiana game where they read the play.
Yeah, they read that, and that was tough. One of those got tipped, but we do well. I don't think we have. Do we have any fumbles that we've lost?
I was just thinking that. I don't think so.
I mean, like, especially with all the running back turnover, which maybe that helps. Maybe when guys are fresh, I don't think we've lost a single fumble this year.
I would not be surprised unless I'm forgetting one.
Shout out to the Swarm, by the way, helping us get all these guys who don't turn the ball over. Go to the Swarm. What's the Swarm's website? Is it Swarm Collective? iowaswarm.com. You can catch all those guys. They're doing events all over the place. I saw Addy Deal and a couple other athletes were out there doing some meet and greets this past week. They are drinking that Powerade that's sponsored, like co-branded, which is so sick. And they just came out. Brad's doing a little bit more media the last few weeks, including our show. Go catch our show with him from the bye week about how the Swarm now factors in to rev share and all that. And really on the top end of rosters, like the players we've been talking about, keeping around guys like Buffington and not letting them go and play for like Georgia or Penn State, where they would love a linebacker like that. Getting McKenna Velichko, getting Addy Deal. Those athletes are going to come and be in Iowa City because of the Swarm, and the Swarm is on top of what the rev share is going to allow us to do NIL wise. So, yeah, shout out to the Swarm.
Lost one fumble this year. I can't remember what game it was, but
I can't either.
Was it UMass? I don't think there was any. I would need to double check. I need to think.
I don't know. We've taken care of the ball pretty good.
This year's Iowa just hasn't forced enough turnovers. Like that's
right.
why Iowa's turnover ratio is 1-1 right now.
Yeah, and that's not good, and it feels like we're not taking advantage of it because we haven't forced as many. But hey, maybe that Wisconsin game starts the momentum. Maybe we start to. I would love if Grunkemeyer got a little loose in Kinnick Stadium in his first start big time game and just decided to throw us the ball.
I'll tell you what, Deshaun Lee is going to be targeted pretty heavily in this game. This is going to be another big test for him.
But he at this point he's fucking used to it. He's waking up every week and just knowing they're coming after his ass. Like, I like that he's been tested now. Iowa State, Indiana, Rutgers. Like it's not like he's untested. He's still going to have to go out there and do it. But I like the momentum that our defense as a whole has taken. I think it's been really good, which is why,
Yeah. I think also, too, remember, Iowa's defense measures turnovers differently because they're thinking 3 and outs. They probably count 3 and outs a half turnover because they still have to punt it away, obviously. By the way,
sure,
Iowa special teams did exactly. They weren't elite, but I'll tell you what, they had no slip-ups against
exactly
Wisconsin.
what we needed.
They had a couple opportunities to block a punt. They got close a couple times, but like that game was the closest complimentary football I've seen Iowa play in a long time. In terms of
special
all
teams,
3 phases.
Just announced 9 minutes ago, Caden Weechin, not that this means anything, but he's a midseason All-American.
Midseason? Yeah. I mean, talk about Iowa getting another consensus All-American. If he's not consensus All-American returner this year compared to everybody else, like just stop.
I know.
Assuming he keeps on doing what he's doing, right? But
yeah, which includes teams kicking to him, which they're really trying not to, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's all I got, man. It's going to be an interesting week. This is a really weird week because of what happened with Franklin and Penn State. Very weird to be the program that faces them on the heels of all this. And it feels very volatile. I feel like it could go either way. This would be a massive game. This is a massive game. If Iowa can win this game, there's going to be some overreactions. There's going to be some people out. Playoff is now in play. If we just put some shit together, if we could knock off Oregon, win a tough one out on the West Coast against USC, if it all rides on a Nebraska game, we're getting behind the Hawks on that one. Like this is the kind of game that starts.
I'll say this too. I agree, but you got to think about it from this standpoint too. From when you look back at this season, fast forward 6 months from now, Iowa absolutely, and I said this preseason, I'm gonna say it again. Iowa absolutely cannot lose all 3 games to Indiana, Penn State, and Oregon.
Yeah,
you can't do it. You have to knock off somebody, and I'll tell you, this is by far the best opportunity because Oregon already slipped up.
right.
You have to, like, I'm not saying it's a make or break, but like if you don't beat Penn State, you have to beat Oregon.
Yeah,
you have to beat Oregon. I know. Again,
well, yeah,
I know how crazy it sounds, but like you have to. You can't go.
I think they're both beatable.
Primetime games. I do too.
And
Oregon's
what
got
sucks is
speed, though, and that's scary.
if they're both beatable and we somehow we do end up beating both of them, then we're gonna look back and be like, we could have gotten all fucking 3. Should have had all 3.
Well, we all know what happened. I mean, I'm not saying it's a very similar situation. I talked about this on our Penn State podcast. That's going to be released either later today or tomorrow. And I think it's fair. Penn State fans have long made the case where if Sean Clifford does not go out against Iowa, they win that game. I said there's absolutely a case for it, but like it's not like Sean Clifford is playing perfect. He had 2 touchdowns through 2 picks early.
Yeah.
If there's a legitimate case to where if Mark Gronowski finishes that game, Iowa wins that football game.
I know.
At the same time, Iowa had opportunities, regardless of Gronowski, to win it anyway. But I think it's along the same what-if lines, right?
Yeah.
So if Iowa doesn't look back like that, they'd have a case for it. But ultimately, dude, if I had an AP ballot, Indiana would be my number 1 at this point.
I know. It's hard to argue with that. Will be interesting to see where all of this goes. And, of course, the Iowa game on Saturday. Let's just get one. Let's just get one and go from there. Win 1-0 this week. Figure it out from that point on. David Eickholt and Tyler Kluver on the Kluver and Eickholt Power Hour. There you go. One more week. We'll be back next week to recap this game and look ahead to who's next. Minnesota after this.
Minnesota. First time they've come back since.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting. Every game has its own little twist. Thank you guys for watching today. Tune in tonight to the preview